up here at Cornell. He's an awesome professor. And one of the things, I'm going to share this with Professor McClane's, he had told me when he was a brother living in Harlem at the time, right? And he saw what happened at Cornell. He said, as far as the occupation was concerned, he said, that's the place I want to go. Okay? Brother McClane.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry for her boat riding. Unfortunately, I have to go to a memorial tomorrow, but there are things I wanted to say to James and Janice, and I just had to say this. Forgive me for doing this, but there's no two people in the world I more love. There are many people in this room, and many others who are not here, who owe James and Janice Turner an inestimable debt, and I am one of them. We often talk about integrity, courage, principle, backbone, intelligence, respect for yourself and others, and respect for one's traditions. We often talk about these things as if they are commonplace. We often talk about those people who are, quote, long-distance runners. That is, those people, no matter what the cost, we can always depend upon. Those people like Dr. King, Malcolm X, Sojourner Truth, Walter Rodney, or Gwendolyn Brooks, who are going to speak the truth eloquently, unabashedly, forthrightly, in the face of unimaginable and often seemingly unendurable adversity. I've known the Turners now for 50 years. In that time, they have always epitomized the height of integrity. They loved themselves and they loved us. And they showed us that self-love, love of black people, which is not to fail to respect other people, is central to all one can hope to do. If you do not love yourself, you will remain unlovable. Witness the world. No one has perished from an overabundance of love, but millions perish daily from the lack of it. Yet loving yourself meant that you had to learn, be disciplined, be lucid. And you had to be courageous. And because we were privileged, that is, because we were able to have a college education and had the opportunity to understand the system that oppressed us, we had much work to do. And many people in our communities rightfully depended on us. I came to Cornell as a freshman in 1969 from Harlem. I was young and unformed, and I came here because of the Willard Straight Hall takeover. I needed a place where black people were taking themselves seriously. Again, I was ill-formed, but my instincts were right. And I came, as many others, to the Africana Study Center and found a place where I was valued. Dr. Turner then, as I recall, was very much as he is now. Elegant, articulate, wiry in build, splendidly attired, full of an undiminished sense of self-love, joined with an unimpeachable sense of humor. The Turner sense of community is like a great net. You can't remain isolate when you come within its grasp. You share love graciously because of it. From the day I entered the center was always imperative, even though it had a faculty as distinguished as any department in the university. I studied Walter Rodney, Ari Evans, Roy Fuller, George Lamming, John Henry Clark. I used to have breakfast with them every morning. Wow. And that was in my first 2 years. This was Dr. Turner's assembled faculty. And James brought us Gwendolyn Brooks, James Baldwin, Toni Morrison, Toni Cade McBarr, Ron Dillon, Audre Lorde, and on and on. It was a veritable constellation of black cultural, political, and humanistic thought. And we daily were inspired and inspirited by a community of thinkers, committed activists who understood that theory without practice is as useful as a flashlight without batteries. Still, the university was always asking that the center defend itself. However, the center, and this is James' credit, no matter what, the onslaught about its gates was all about its students and preparing us for a world in which we were desperately needed. We knew we were at the center's core, that this was our sacred space. In Robert Hayden's wonderful line, we were learning the legends of our blood. When Africana was destroyed in 1970 by a fire in yet again another of the ceaseless assaults on the center, Dr. Turner was there, angry, saddened, but resilient. As always, as all of our foremothers and forefathers had done before, he was battered but not destroyed. And when someone among us was ridiculed or chastised because we were young, or didn't have the money, or didn't yet know how to be bullied by corporate Mr. Thorpes or Dick Cheney's in training, who thought we had no one to protect us, Dr. Turner showed them otherwise, and fiercely. And Janet did the same in the College of Arts and Sciences as Associate Dean. I can't tell you the number of students she literally saved, and this is not hyperbole. I can't count the number of times both James and Janet Turner stood with us in the proverbial flood time. We were always strengthened by the resolve. Often it is only at moments like today when we recall how much such concern matters. At Cornell, we often talk about mentorship. Well, in my 1,000 years here, I think there might have only been 2 true mentors, and they are being honored tonight. As you know, if the students ask the Turners to give a lecture, come to a rally, meet them seemingly at any time of the night, they were there. And it's true in the wider community too. Whenever there was injustice or a celebration, be it at GF, or Southside, or the Ithaca High School, Janet and James would be there, and powerfully so. Whenever Ken McClane's gave a poetry reading, when I was young and not much good, when I was older and a little better, Dr. Turner was there. His pleasure in us, in our possibilities, acted like a preachment. We learn by practice and example. And the Turners always exemplified the best in us. We wanted to be as trenchant as James, to be as articulate about Black experience in the world that faced it. Did anyone ever hear James bettered in a debate? When the humanities report came out in the late 1980s, as thin a worn piece of argument as one could imagine, which was yet another assault on the Africana Studies Center, trying to disband it, James literally had his signatories, fools that they were, wondering if they had actually gone to primary school. With the delicacy of a watchmaker, he completely dismantled their spacious argument. It is a terrible thing and a wondrous thing to watch James' mind make short shrift of intellectual ineptitude. And we were proud then, as we always are when he represents us. This was thinking of the highest order. As someone who is proudly one of Africana's progeny, and who has counted on James and Janice's unwavering support in numerous times. And please remember that much that I did in the English department was lonely, dismal work. I want to publicly thank them for their trust. I couldn't have done what little I accomplished without you. Let me just say that many of us in this room are healthy, if not physically alive, because of the Turners. No one has argued better for us in word, flesh, or action, and loved us more profoundly. May we continue to be worthy of their awesome trust.
I don't know about y'all, but it's kind of hot up here all of a sudden.